This is the introduction to how the CIA actually know how to manifest. Let's jump straight into it, shall we? Okay, so when you practice the gateway experience, right? Since if you didn't know, right, the CIA Monroe Institute, right, the gateway tapes, right, they're actually on YouTube. You can listen to them, right, and you can do the practice yourself, right? It's not that hard, right? And what you find, right, there's a lot of guided meditations nowadays that you find online actually have techniques from the Monroe Institute's gateway tapes in order to help you do the things in the meditations that are intended, right? So let's start with Focus 10, okay? The first wave teaches you how to use your energy conversion box, right? Which in reality, right, the energy conversion box, and this, what it is a core practice of learning how to visualize properly, right? Make the top as heavy as possible. Put your day, your thoughts, everything in there, right? Basically, leave your physical reality behind, right? And when you do that, right, then you start meditating, basically, right? You do some techniques in order to get your mind into a lower state of consciousness, right? I put it into a more relaxed state, right, where your mind isn't bludgeoning you constantly, right? The way that they do it is by humming. Okay, it sounds weird, right? But it's by going hmm, and repeating a mantra like I am more than my body, which if I was introduced to this stuff recently, right, and I've been doing guided meditations for a while, right, so knowing I am more than my body, saying I am more than my body doesn't really help me, right, since I kind of already know that, right, even though I haven't astral projected much, right, it's kind of obvious, right. So you do your resonant tuning is what they call it, right, by going and the reason that you actually do that, right, is one, the frequency of the hum, right, it helps. Two, the exhale of the hum, it helps. And three, when you actually hum, it produces nitric oxide. I learned this recently, right? So if you ever want to fall asleep quickly, de-stress, right, get into meditation, right, exhale like this. Or just start humming. It does something, it helps the oxygen, it helps the, what was it? There's a certain part, plas something, right? So part of the red blood cell, right, that separates the cells from each other, right? So like the main membrane, right? And the nitric oxide really helps reinforce that, right? It helps with blood pressure, lowers blood pressure, and it can help with sickness too. Okay, nitric oxide, the way it interacts with the blood and oxygen. It's a good day for everyone, right? The platelets are happy, right? Platelets are the things that you use. The platelets are the blood cells that are used for scabs, that your body uses for scabs. Anyway, moving on. Um, Focus 10, when you get into it, you can de-stress very easily because when you get into Focus 10, right, you start to drift, right? You're not quite at that Focus 12 state, which I say is state akin to sleep. But at Focus 10, right, is Focus 10 is for sure the meditative state, right? The surface meditative state, right? And Focus 10 is a state that someone like me, right, or most people are able to go into, right, because they understand the basics of visualization, intent setting, right, and how emotion works as awareness when it's exerted through consciousness, if that makes sense, right? Awareness and consciousness are not the same thing, right? Okay? So, Focus 10, the benefits of it, de-stressing, it can help with mental illnesses to some degree, right? Because it's meditation, right? So say if you have an overactive mind, or in traditional Chinese medicine, right, the spirit, right, is referred to as Shen, right, which is the mind, right? So you might have overactive Shen, right, through some mental illness or something, right? Well, doing Focus 10 can actually help you refine that Shen, right, into something more physical, right? That's positive, right? Instead of it being like a leakage of energy, as how they would refer to it in traditional Chinese medicine. Though I'm not a guru, or I really don't look that. I don't look into the different faculties of the sex or the different principles that are separated in it, right? But I'll absorb the different knowledge, right, of Kundalini, Reiki, energy work, which Kundalini, pranayama, and a lot of that stems from traditional Chinese medicine or Eastern arts, right? Whether it's Taoism, Buddhist, right? I'm gonna make myself look stupid, right? Since I'm probably gonna refer to one of the two as the same thing, right, without realizing it. But I'm not a know-it-all, okay? So this is the Eastern stuff that they use to heal the body, okay? Well, the Monroe Institute with Focus 10, right? In a similar sense, you can learn how to use this palpably, right? Because you might be thinking, right, how do we learn how to harness the chakras, right, or the meridians, right, or the five element cycle, right, and how to learn how that not just the nutrients, right, but the actual medicinal spiritual properties of each living plant, right, when eaten, right. Not you, golden pothos. I'm not sure if you can see this here, the golden pothos. Comment a name for him in the comments. But say shamans, druids, medicine men, was curanderos, I think is a term for it in Spanish, use a lot of herbs, right? An example of this is a natural way of setting intent, right? Is when we want to clear evil from a house, right? One of the most common ways that we do it nowadays, right, is through incense or through sage, right? Even if we don't believe in meditation, not meditation, even if we don't believe in like the mind, the Shen, if we don't believe in the spiritual aspect of things to some degree, right? Not religious but spiritual, right? So we'll light sage, right? And we'll cleanse the area, right? That's a form of using your awareness, right? And in a sense, when you cleanse the space with sage, right, you're actually entering focus 10 unawarely, okay? But the tapes of the Monroe Institute help you refine focus 10, okay? CIA, they, my, the Secret Service is pretty good at making their stuff good, Gotta give it to them, right? So, let's run through the process and let's tell you how you can use this outside of how to actually use this to heal yourself, okay? So, there's a certain technique out there called emotional some tapping, right? Emotional freedom tapping, I think it is, right? EFT, right? And it is you tap. The way it goes is you tap at certain areas, right? And in these certain areas, right, where you tap, right, you repeat certain phrases and so on and so forth. Like, let's do a session here, right? Tap with me, right, and repeat what I'm saying. I am free. I am free of all blockages that are within my body. I know that I am deserving of prosperity and love. I know that all of the energy within my body is for better purposes. And I know that I am refining towards something better. You would mimic me, right? You would do what I do, right? Because as you're mirroring me, right, something in your brain, some faculties in your brain, right, they would, yeah, it's the way the human brain works, right? By copying me, right, and doing what I do, right, it's almost like hypnotism, right? And the thing is, right, is in EFT, right, these areas that you're tapping in are actually meridian spots, right? Like you tap here, pecs, right below this area here, you feel a little spot here. And it's not hard to feel meridians, right, or these spots, right, since you can kind of feel them, right? Like right here. There's like these, how do I put them? You could kind of tell, right? It's like geometry in a sense, right? The purpose of the meridians. Okay, I'm gonna differentiate chakras and meridians. Meridians are used for physical ailments, from what I understand. Okay, so let's say the same way that we're doing EFT for emotional stuff and trauma, right? Which in a sense trauma builds up in the body. Okay, so we clear the meridians, and certain meridians carry certain trauma or bad energy, right? Which we call Sha energy or Z energy. Sha means killing or negative energy, right? And the Z energy means parasitic energy, right? But I won't get into that. Okay, let's just focus on this. You have your energy pathways, okay? Your meridians, right? And certain meridians are responsible to certain parts, certain organs, okay? So, you have something wrong with your fucking heart, right? Well, then there's something wrong with your heart meridian, which runs along here, right along the side, through the back, I think, around the top here, right? I think this is actually responsible for the heart meridian. The meridians here, right? These areas here. And the channels, right? They're not just like points in the body, right? There's channels, right? It's like where your blood flows, right? And it's not based on bullshit science. It's built based on actual science, right? Because it follows veins, it follows the nervous system, right? And if you compare it, I mean, If you say otherwise, I think you'd have to be pretty damn stupid, right? And or be purposely trying to disprove it for a separate purpose rather than trying to actually find the benefit in a way of reasoning of this to help people, right? But a lot of people don't understand how to use awareness, consciousness, intent, and whatever the fuck else, right? Even I get annoyed with it sometimes, right? Learning it, right? So the meridians, you know, physical ailments, trauma, alright? Like say someone has a fucking fever, right? Well, energy pathways here, okay? These are the best energy pathways here. Like that, okay? And a lot of us, right, we could feel energy when we move our hands, right? A lot of us can naturally. With mudras, I mean, they made it with gang symbols, right? I'm not gonna do gang symbols, right? But they did it with different gang symbols, and then you have apanas, right, with the body, right, these different things, right, but let's keep it simple, okay? So, fever, put your hand over their head, right, and you would imagine energy, a certain energy flowing into them, extracting a certain energy, right? You have to understand a system of basis in order to base your intention towards, so that way it can transmute. Because in this world, right, towards start in the beginning, right, it's your bow that you have that you draw, right? That's the change, right? There's no intermediary between here and then in a quantum sense, okay? So I've really gone off topic, but everything in this video will help in some sense to some people, right? This will reach the people it needs to, right? This will blow up, right? Subscribe, like, what, I don't care, whatever. Okay, so back to the analogy. You only have the start and the end. You don't have the getting there, okay? When we have a desire, we don't focus on ourselves when we have a desire most of the time, right? We become a person that has a desire of that desire, if that makes sense, right? We can't desire something if we don't already have it, is an analogy there. That's why I say we can't desire what we don't already we can't desire what we desire, right? Because when we desire something, right, we're splitting off realities, right, outside of action, right? Because desire in itself could be its own creative force, right? Because desire literally creates alternate realities the second that it's palpable, right? It's hard to explain, but anyway, there's the beginning and then there's the end of the chain. There's the beginning, okay, and I say the end is you want to heal the person that has the fever, okay. So you have an energy system that you base it on, right? I'm going to use terms you don't understand, okay, but let's say the person's down in front of you, right? So then you would imagine ki flowing out of your hand, right? Ki is vital energy, right? Ki is responsible. Ki is responsible for some of the functions of the organs for your life force, and the prospect of your life fading away as you die, right, and not being able to move your body, even though you have consciousness, right? That comes from the concept of ki, right? Some people might be able to survive more gruesome fucking things than other people, right? That's because they have a larger ki, right? Larger vitality, right? Vital force, right? So let's explain this real quick. Ki comes from Jeng. Jeng is essence. Jeng is sexual energy. Whenever you get tired, right? That's from Jeng, a lack of Jeng, right? Whenever you're fucking whenever you're addicted to a substance, right, this is from overactivity of Shen, okay? This is how it goes. Jen, Ki, Shen, okay? So I put my hand on top of the person's head, right, and I imagine using the bow, right, as this analogy, okay? Because how do we heal people, right? Well, you have to be willing to pick up the bow, and in this case, it's the system, right? Because there's no exterior system, right, that prompts us to make these miracles happen, right? It's all internal, right? So we have to learn internally. These are fourth dimensional arts, okay? So put your hand there, right, and you draw the bow of change, right? And when you do that, right, you use these arts, right, and you channel your ki into the body, right, into belief and awareness, right, and the word. Words are very powerful, right? You say, you are healed, you are healed, you are healed, right? Or more complex, right? If there's an issue, right, that stems from other things, right? And this is complex, right? Like say, right, or like if you got bitten by a venomous snake, right? All the venom in your blood is gone, right? All the venom in your blood is gone, right? It's gone, blood gone, gone, disappear, 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 blood. It's not crazy like that, right? But you really want me to sit here going, it's gone. You know, the Force in Star Wars, right? It was always made to look cool. But we never really see Yoda meditating for like 3 days straight, do we? So you you draw your bow, which is your energy work of choice, okay? Your mind, your system, right? You can create your own, right? But there's tons of systems already made, right? Draw your bow, and you fire your bow of chains, okay? And this bow of chains, this system, right? It heals the person, it transfers, right? It creates that chord, right? So you set the intention, okay? I am healed, I am healed, I am healed, I am healed, you are healed, you are healed, you are healed, right? You set an intention, okay? And through that energy, right, for healing other people, okay? For energy, through healing other people, right? That go to that intention, then you let go, right? And you feel the energy move into the person. How do you feel energy? Energy feels like chills. It feels like vibrations. It feels like a current in your body, electricity in your body. Uh, when it gets cold and you feel chills in your body, that is energy. That's key. Okay. So an easy way to build ki, right, is Tai Chi. What's Tai Chi? Tai Chi is fluid movement. When you move your body and you try to intentionally feel that ki, right? Because fluid motion, how do I put it? Fluid motion creates a flow state, and well, let's break this down, right? Since I never thought about this specific part. Tai Chi brings vitality to the body by awakening the senses through certain movements, right? Because you're not, like a robot, right? So it's almost like stretching, right? But it's energetical stretching in a sense, right? That's why there's different poses in yoga, and a lot of billionaires, right, say that they do stretching most of their day. But anyway, back on track, okay? The CIA with Focus 10. So Focus 10 teaches you properly, okay, listen to me, how to do these things, okay? Not the system, right? You could choose any system, right? Whether you're learning how to heal with a Nokian magic, right? Which I don't even think there's text about that anymore, right? With Celestial magic, whether you're learning Crowley's works, right? Which I highly suggest, right? That dude's crazy, right? Or Neville Goddard, right? These different systems, okay? Not important, right? Because these systems try to teach you how to not use the system, right? But a lot of people think that you need the system in order for it to be used. The system being the technique, the bow, right? Okay. So Focus 10 teaches you how to develop the awareness in this plane, right? In order to be able to activate these things, right? Because if you're just watching this now and you've never had awareness of this, right? Chances are, right, I made that pizza appear last video, right, by saying pizza, and if I say pizza another time, right, 3 times, right, it's gonna be stuck in your awareness, right, and it'll likely manifest sometime this week, right. But other things, right, won't be as easy to attain because of belief, and that belief is a static pattern inside of us, almost like a SD card, right, and we have to learn how to do inner healing, okay. Inner healing is a lot harder than exterior healing, okay. You could lose an arm, right? As long as you keep it cold, right? You could show it back together, right? But well, the technology for reconnecting nerve endings, right? I'm pretty sure we already have that, right? But I won't comment on that. But off topic, Focus 10 teaches you how to harness awareness through consciousness, okay? Because you sit there, okay, and then they put on binaural beats, right, which help your body get a hang of this state, right, and what it feels like to ascend, right? You're building muscle memory on the fourth dimension, okay? So you descend into this state, right, and you bring out your energy conversion box, okay, and in a sense, right, this is a technique as well, okay, and this is one of the best techniques they could have used, honestly, because it's a potent form of visualization without people realizing it, okay? So at this point, every person builds their energy box, or at this point, you could say each person builds their Dantian, right? If you believe in that stuff, right? I do believe in that in a sense, right? I'm a geek for that stuff. But each person builds their energy box, whether that's a cauldron or a literal box, right? Each person has its different thing, right? They say the energy box weighs a shitload, right? The top of it is fucking heavier than God himself, right? Right. Like it's just like super God, like a million Space Marine chapters are sitting on top of that, okay? So you open that box, right, using your mind. First practice, right, it teaches you that you're limitless, okay, without actually focusing on beliefs limiting, okay? So you take off the top using your mind, and then you put your beliefs in there, right? Your physical focus, your third dimensional life, everything in the aspects out here, right? Which in a sense, second part, this is a form of reality shifting, right? But that's if you take control of it from there. So then you close the box, right, and you walk away, right? Now you're in the fourth dimension, right? You're in your mind, right? Now you're creating, okay? Well, now you're not creating, but you're drawing towards creation, okay? And what I mean by that is fourth dimensional creation is you pick something and you're on the track to it. Fifth dimensional creation is you pick something and it comes to you, okay? You know, one railroad versus I can switch railroads at any time, right? And the train can come to me, you know, fourth dimension versus fifth dimension, okay? So, but I'm keeping it fourth dimension for now because this is CIA and Neville Goddard, okay? So, all right, focus 10. You learn these how to harness awareness, how to harness consciousness. You put your physical life and your fucking worries inside of a box in your mind, right? And you run away. And then you lower your frequency of your mind, right? It sounds weird, but that's literally what you do, right? You descend your consciousness, right, into a more pliable state, right? Almost like dough, right? If this is your consciousness when you're awake, right? And imagine I had putty in my hand, right? This is it when it's going closer towards sleep, or when the consciousness itself vibrates at a higher frequency, I guess. Yeah, you know, because consciousness is a form itself, right? But it's not. It's a formless form, right? Because how can we be aware if there's no substance that's bringing the awareness, you know? But that's a discussion for a different day. Okay, so after that, Focus 10 teaches you one last crucial part, and that's how to establish your toroidal field. Okay, they say imagine energy spinning around you, right? This was so goddamn cool when I was doing the gateway experience, right? Because it just affirmed that all the spiritual shit that I'd been learning the past few years, right, had been true. Every single goddamn aspect of it, right? It's been true, right? From the synchronicities to being able to talk with other entities that are non-physical, right? From Enki to Thoth to Saint Germain, right? To even Metatron, right? Which is kind of crazy that I'm talking to Metatron. Well, I'm not talking to him, but channeling, right? Channeling is both from focus 10 and focus 12. I can't say about the other focuses, right? Because I haven't gone further, right? This is my take so far. But channeling is once you master this awareness, right? You put your awareness towards something and just start doing it, right? Channeling is the easiest form of manifestation, but people don't realize it, right? Because you put your awareness, right, to say, now I want to do this. I want to channel. I want to get in contact. You know, prayers, right? But a lot of people don't know how to do prayer correctly, right? And you'd be surprised. Okay, so focus 10, you learn how to develop your toroidal vortex, right? This toroidal vortex, what it does is it protects you from energy, it allows you to convert energy, in a sense it allows you to manifest, allows you to amplify energy, right? This vortex that you create, right, it's your energy field. You're visualizing your energy field and bringing your awareness consciously to it, right? Because the act of harnessing and being aware of your consciousness, right, and using your awareness from your consciousness, right, that is built when you enter the state that's lower, right, and you start building awareness through meditation. The more you meditate, right, the more you become self-aware of awareness, right, and as you become self-aware of awareness and you expand, you're able to consciously put that awareness in a non-physical manner on something you want, and it acts like a derivative, as a directive for the universe to complete, okay, or God or the world around you, right, self-reflective, fractal. And if you look at the toroidal vortex, right, what they teach you, right, it's a donut. Okay, look at a donut. Okay, or Google toroidal vortex. If you don't know what a toroidal vortex is, you really probably shouldn't be here. I'm not talking to you as an adult, right? So this toroidal vortex, right? It's a donut. It's a spinning donut that has these loops, right? Helixes, right? And this recycles energy, right? This is the form of plasma in its purest state, right? Because the ancients, right? They have the Ankh, right, which is the form of, which is the physical depiction or symbolic depiction of a plasma toroid, right? What happens with plasma under certain conditions, and naturally, right, it forms that, and then it forms into the seed of life, and you know, fractals, and yeah, that's like past science, right? At least to me, right? Anyway, Focus 10 helps you build awareness, okay? Now let's get on to how Neville Goddard stayed akin to sleep, and how Neville Goddard, I'm not sure if he's part of the CIA, knew anything about the CIA, is related to the CIA, or if the CIA learned anything from him. You know, I didn't look into the timeline, right, but I'm making this video now. There's going to be another video. I might continue recording this video later, but let's start from here. Neville Goddard's state akin to sleep is the same thing as Focus 12, right? And in a sense, Focus 10, right? Because a lot of people can manifest from there too. But Focus 12. Focus 12 is that state that you linger in Focus 10, but you don't quite reach, right? Focus 10 is just like you're still able to move your body and readjust, right? Like in the morning, right? When you're waking up and you're readjusting in bed, right? But you're not quite awake, right? This is after in the morning, right, when you're barely waking up, right, this is when you're in Focus 12, right, where you're still sitting still, right, and your awareness is coming to be, right, into your body, right. That's in a sense Focus 12, right. So Focus 12, they teach you to count to 12, right, because now that you completed this, right, you're able to hypnotize yourself, and hypnotism, right, is really just hypnotism practices awareness, because hypnotism is creation, and creation is manifestation through belief, and because we've created such a wide egregore of belief, placebo, creation, manifestation, attraction, these were all things created by humans, right? Back then, the magic must have been much purer, right? Because there must have been only one form, right? But there's so many different aspects of it now, right? So, anyway, the hypnotism is a form of practicing that. So, the similarities are, if you want to learn how to fucking heal the body without medicine, right? I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm not a professional, right? Okay? But I'm just saying, if you want to learn how to heal the body without medicine, right? If you want to learn, right, how to talk to non-physical entities, right? And how to channel, not channeling and talking to them is a different, you know, they're kind of separate in a sense, right? Because they're diverse, right? If you want to learn how to do these supernatural abilities, right, and in a sense, levitation is also possible, right? Like levitating objects and that, right? But I'm still learning how to do that, right? It's each system has its own way, right? But getting to that self-acceptance and belief is a little bit unsteady, right? That's why you see these Eastern cultures able to do it more, because they don't have fuck shit bothering them most of the time, right? Even if they live in poverty, right, they still have a really pure spirit. And that's what America has taken away from the people, their sin. Because if people still had their spirit, even if America was fucked up, right, their sin, right, do you see people struggling? No, you see people thriving, okay? Because there was still, whether fucked up people or actual good intentioned people, right, if they have a good sin, right, they will thrive, right, under the right conditions, right? Disease is a form of Jeng, right, illness of Jeng most of the time, right? And Qi is responsible for beliefs and waking awareness, I guess you could say. So you build Qi, right, awareness, in order to build a Shen, which is, in a sense, consciousness, right, the spirit itself, right, mental imagery, right. Once you start building that Qi and it starts transmuting into Shen, right, because it's naturally everything naturally transmutes, right. It goes from, like I said, Gen Qi Shen, right. Once it reaches Shen, then you're able to create, because now you have spirit, right. There's the 33 vertebrae, you know, fucking semen retention, fucking energy up your spine, woo! You know, that shit, right? If you want to know the truth about all of that, right, pranayama, right, which is really just breath work while meditating, right? Pranayama means like, and you visualize the energy being absorbed in a certain way with proper faculties, right? Not just doing it as a joke, right, but actually like getting intentional with it, right? That's pranayama, right? And then you have tantra, right? Sexual energy transmutation. Self-explanatory, right? It's the same thing, right? You use your breath, right? Certain rhythms of the breath in order to draw energy upwards, right? You use certain apanas or I forgot the term for it. It's not apanas. It's certain locks. They're called locks. Okay, like the root lock, right? Which is just squeezing your asshole. pulling back your dick, right? It sounds weird, right? But if you realize that like your spine's kind of connected down here, right? And when you bring energy down into your solar plexus, right? Now we're getting into chakras, right? Then the energy can be converted down if you visualize it, right? And you don't just do the physical things and expect it to happen to itself like a fucking idiot, okay? So you squeeze your abdomen after you do breath work, right? You can search breath work sessions on YouTube, right? Breath work weeks, breathing with Sandy, right? So then you squeeze your abdomen, you do your root lock, right? Google root lock. I'm not gonna fucking explain it. It's really hard to explain, man. It's weird, okay? But it does work. It's real. It's everything all of the above, right? Because I have proof of it, but I'm not willing to show it because I just don't know if the world's at a state of a point of accepting that yet. But I'm explaining it, okay? Okay. You move your energy here, which is your cauldron. This is your dantian, right? Different than energy conversion box, right? This is your storage area of energy, right? Your main energy area. This is your connection to spirit, right? This is the producer of spirit, right? This is the, well, not producer of spirit, but this is the mind, God, I guess you could say, right? So then, this is where energy is stored. This is where it's cultivated. It's where it's transmuted. The gut, the lungs, the diaphragm, right? So you bring the energy into your abdomen, into your solar plexus, and you do the root lock, right? And by doing that, you channel the energy up your body by visualizing it going up the spine or just up your body, right? In a helix pattern, because helixes have certain properties, okay? Certain shapes have certain properties when put under certain anything, natural forces, right? Whether it's electricity, whether it's weight, cavity structure effect, right? But that's for a different story. Anyway, Neville Goddard, state akin to sleep. You go into a state that's right before sleep, right? And you repeat an image, right? Or you repeat an affirmation, right? The lullaby technique, right? Which is altered version of state akin to sleep. You get into a SATS, state akin to sleep. You get into this state, focus 12, focus 10, right? Just as you're going to bed, right? You don't have to practice doing it, you do it always, okay? All you have to practice really is just thinking, right? You have to practice meditation, right? Because otherwise your thoughts might drift easily, right? So, state akin to sleep, you imagine what you want, and it manifests. Why is that? Well, you're shifting realities. One, I explained how focus 10, right? And putting your desires in a box, right? That's reality shifting in a sense, right? Because you're disassociating with that for the moment, right? And when you're fully drawn into this upper realm while you're doing that, right? Like how the CIA Gateway experiment does, right? It you reality shift, right? Because Neville Goddard's teaching, right, of you are what you're aware of, right? You are what you are, right? I am that I am, right? You don't become what you're becoming. You aren't what you're becoming. You are what you choose that you are, right? In the moment, present moment awareness, right? Which is another term for this conscious directed awareness that I'm talking about throughout this video, right? So use your awareness to manifest. Awareness manifests, and why is that? Honestly, I never asked myself that question, right? It's like the actual scientific question, right? But self-emulating energy, self-organizing energy, right? That's emitted from our bodies naturally, right? Because our heart is in the shape of a chestoid. Yes, Google that shape, right? And when blood pumps through it, right, which blood is water, which water is hydrogen, which is one of the most free sources of electricity and power in the universe, right? And information, right? As well as iron and all of these other nutrients, right? Really think about it, right? Really think about it. It moves through your heart in a certain pace, right? And what that does is it creates an energy field, right? Because there's energy moving through your body, because you have emotions, right? And you have all these different thoughts, and then you exert them outward, right? Through just being alive, right? Because you have this awareness of yourself and creation and reality, okay? So anyway, state akin to sleep. You fall asleep having what you want. That's all you do. If you want $1 million, you fall asleep to the image, opening your bank account to $1 million, or you fall asleep to a thought of like counting out $1 million on your table, right? And here's the thing, right? A lot of people want to be rich, but they've never even asked themselves what $1 million looks like, or what it feels like, what it weighs like, right? When you put your awareness towards something, it builds it, right? Because we don't experience the physical world, we experience the mental senses. Okay? So when we develop the mental senses, right, it brings forth to the physical world, right? But there's a lot of different things at play because there's other people, there's the real world, right, which has different faculties to it. There's interference from the moon, which is a space station. There's fucking actual interference from the government, right? There's interdimensional entities fucking with the rain, all kinds of stuff, man. Anyway, right, what do you think the human body hasn't been, humans haven't been able to do the best, right? We've been so blind, right? So, fall asleep, you get what you want. The CIA knows all of this, okay? And in Focus 12, after Focus 12, I'm pretty sure is the gateway into astral projection, right? Which I'm excited for that. So, let me think here for a moment. How to use Focus 12 to cure illnesses. Find the system right above, right? And use your Shen, your mind, right, at a distance in order to heal them while you're in meditation, right? The more you meditate in a single session, right, like half an hour, let's say, right, the more your mind becomes aligned. I dare you to do this right now. Do a 10-minute, do the gateway experience, right? Do do what is it? Just do the flow 10 exercise, right? Which is the same thing as a meditation, okay? It'll help you meditate, okay? And you'll see afterwards, you'll be seeing a lot of synchronicities, which are repeating numbers. I promise you, right? All my goddamn life, you will see synchronicities after you do the gateway experience a lot more. And a synchronicity doesn't have to be 1111. It could be 44822, right? Or 11 3 11, right? It could be complex, right? Just the more things that line up, right? The more things that literally synchronize, right? You know, this is the best way to get you to understand how disease is a lower plane thing, right? Unless it's casted from a higher plane, or there's other uncertainties at play, but hopefully we'll be able to figure that out soon, okay? This is for everyone, and it works for everyone, right? But if shit hits the fan, like the government decides to be the government, right? Well, I don't want my mind being governed, no government here, okay? So, let's say you focus on your person that you want healed, and you imagine transferring energy, right, into the parts of their body that need it. The chakras are mostly emotional and spiritual, okay, but they're also core energy centers connected to the meridians, which are for trauma and physical illness, okay? So, let's say that the person has, a sickness in the liver, right? No, no, let's say a sickness in the heart, right? Since I remember what the positionings of the heart meridians are, like I referenced before, right? You'd imagine transferring energy, right? Oh, this is important, right? Their physical ailment is equivocal to their mental state of being. It spreads from physical to mental, from mental to physical, right? Back and forth, right? It's a two-way thing, right? It could develop both ways, right? People can get sick from believing it, right? And sickness can go away from believing it. And the other way around, right? But yeah, I lost my mind and I don't really know how to phrase that correctly. So, you imagine the energy flowing to the person into the heart chakra, which is representative of their spirit and their self-deservingness, their compassion, right? This is probably where the trauma might be stored, in most cases emotionally, right, as a childhood, from their childhood, right? So you envision energy flowing into the right key, energy, fucking chi, whatever, okay? Imagine energy flowing into their heart chakra, right, and clearing out the negative emotions. Remember, awareness is a tool, it's a key, right? Not the brain, awareness. Consciousness is different from awareness, right? You are channeling awareness through a body. Your consciousness is immortal, right? And you carry a blueprint after you die of your body, but that's a different story, right? But your awareness, okay? Build your awareness and imagine the energy flowing into the heart chakra with intent. Then, if there's something with their heart, like say they're having pleurisy or a small heart attack, right? Not major, but small heart attack, right? Or they're having them quite frequently, right? Then you'd imagine energy flowing into their heart meridian, right? Around here, through the back, around the side here, right? Then you, because you know what they have, right? It already has. It just isn't back then where we don't know what the hell the ailments are. Okay, you imagine the ailment going away. Okay, not just physically, but also emotionally, right? Through the chakras, physically through the meridians, emotionally through the chakras. Okay, even better if you integrate different energies, right? Like if you use Shen and Ki combined, right? Since even though your imagery is Shen, right? Shen can take on a visible form inside of itself, right? In its mind, right? You can envision it as a golden energy, right? You could heal the chakras with Shen and Ki, and you could heal the meridians with Jen and Ki, right? Your energy does get transferred when you imagine it, right? And when you focus on something, it gets transferred without you realizing it. Okay, this is why a low awareness can be harvested easily, right? Because it's the same thing as a house, right? You get payments, right, over time, right? And the amount you pay over time ends up being like $5 million by the time you're dead, right? Compared to where if you bought a mansion, right, for the same price, right, it would be upfront, right? You'd pay that amount, right, $5 million with the annual taxes, right? This is assuming it's a normal mansion, right, with today's money, right, without the concierges, without the butlers and stuff like that, right? Just a personal house, okay? So $5 million in a mansion, one-time payment, right? And all you have to do is pay annual taxes, right? Which is the equivalent of what you pay. Probably the same thing on a goddamn half of what you pay on a house, if not the same, right? And with houses, there's a lot more tax, right? But this is just the way I'm explaining it, right? Mansions, a lot easier. This is why rich people like mansions, because there's no tax on them. We have monthly tax, right? They don't. I didn't know that. And if I'm wrong, correct me. Please correct me, right? And break down the entire fucking thing, right? But from what I'm aware, right? You could literally, like they do in the movies, upfront, and that's it. And you don't have to worry about the taxes, right? Because equivocally, the taxes ain't shit, right? Compared to what you're gonna pay on a stupid house over time, right? Which is gonna be probably double the mansion, right? Let's be honest, right? Or the house. Not using a mansion as an example anymore, but a luxury house, let's say, right? Just in general, right? It's overdue, right? But anyway, I lost my train of thought.